Okay. Let me just. All right. We are live. Welcome. Welcome. Glad you made it, Nicole. I was like, where have you been? You don't know about our paint party. It's not for an hour. So this is just not just, it is Cynthia on demand. Ta-da! All right, let me record it so that we, we have something if we say something absolutely amazing. I was going to say maze balls, right? I don't know how old I am today, but anyway. All righty, record. So here's MA. Hey, you're all starting to come in. All right, we've got our main team here on WMM. What is WMM? Holistic Mystic Mastermind, right? And that's what we go into our private group, our private inner circle. So we have the inner circle team here on Zoom, and we're streaming to a couple of the social media. So today, I was thinking, what will we share today? What would be of interest? And, I'm just going to say what's of interest to me. And you can tell me and let me know if it's of interest to you. So did you see what the topic was? The topic today is around the connection. Are we connecting to spirit? How do you know you're connecting to spirit? Now, for those of you that are new and you just stumble across me, here's Lisa. Oh, awesome. The team's building. I actually had a really interesting email the other day from a client, and I haven't answered it yet. Some of this will possibly touch on her answer. And but I study, and what I'm about is the human condition, yeah? Mind, body, spirit, soul to spirit, physical challenges, mental health challenges, spiritual challenges, everything to do with the human. And interestingly enough, I was watching a show the other day about Neanderthal because I wanted to see if there was anything new. Because my background is anthropology. I'm a medical and socio-cultural anthropologist. I am not a paleo anthropologist, which is like archaeology, but archaeology and anthropology are very close, although anthropologists study the human and the society that the human is in. Yeah. And so you add in the spiritual energetics to that, and we have, in the different realms, the different aspects of self. And, we have an understanding of the human experience. So some of the things that I've been looking at for many years, for like 20 odd years, but recently in regards to, we have the program Regulate to Elevate, which is about our adaptive strategies, right? Our adaptive strategies, or our protective aspects of self, and how they come in, how we are unconscious a lot of their behavior and their actions. They're parts of ourself. They're parts of us that have developed to assist us. Some may argue that, right? But at the point that they're developed and how they're in, you're being encoded, and their beliefs and conditioning patterns have been encoded, I'm just thinking, man, this is a lot for 9 a.m. in the morning. It's 9 a.m. here. Like this is deep stuff. We're going in. All right. Bear with me. I haven't even had breakfast, ladies. These adaptive strategies, all these protective layers of ourself and how they protect you could say, so as a psychotherapist, I would say the inner child or the child aspect, the child part. But there's all these different ages. And often the teenage part, and so this is a revision for some of you that are in Relevate, we've touched on this, but the teenage part tends to start to protect the child, right? And so have any of you that have been working with me, have you noticed that there are these other parts of yourself or other traits or personalities, or you may even see them as, I could say, other aspects. If you've done trance or mediumship with me, I often say other aspects. This is what we're going to talk about today. Now, I'm not necessarily going to give you answers, or I might. I might, but this is to do with my PhD, right? This needs more research, and this is what I've been looking at for many, many years. Intuitive studies program that we ran for years and will continue to run. You know, if people are interested in that. There wasn't enough interested this round, so I didn't run it because it's a year-long program, right? So we need the numbers to run that. But the years that we have run that, and sometimes we're running 2 a year, you know, yeah, like titrating them. And what I noticed, and this is where regulate to elevate came in, because people were wanting to elevate into spirit and right. They wanted to, they're working towards their full potential as a human. And so I just touched on the aspects of human. You have energy bodies, you have physical body, which is one of the 10 spiritual bodies. The physical body is it's number 5, actually. It's the 5th spiritual body, right? Soul is first, number 1. Negative mind, number 2. Negative mind, positive mind, number 3. Neutral mind, number 4. Physical body, number 5. Right. Anyway, so if you're interested in that sort of stuff, that's Psi, Simran Ishnan experience, which we start when, Nicole? August. We start in August. So if you want to come along with that, I've got 3 spaces because it's such an intimate program and it's for 10 months. And so if you're interested in that, contact me. I will be starting to put that out because the type of work we're doing there is very, I'll be doing your charts and your codings. And so we'll be utilizing that almost when I look at my painting. So this is what we're going into next. For those of you that are coming to the paint party at 10 o'clock. But there's a lot of coding in here, right? There's a lot of coding in here. Now, if we're going through Psi, your codings would be in your imagery. And your codings link. So, what? She's gone off in a tangent. No, I haven't. It's just you don't understand what I'm talking about. Let me bring it in. What I'm talking about is adaptive strategies. Your coding. So if we go through the numbers, Karam Kriya, the karma and dharma of your life is Karam Kriya. It's a particular way of looking at number. Not what you think the number means, what the number is, right? What the number is, we really look at the number. Okay. How that is in your life. Your name has a frequency. Your name has a frequency. When you change your name, you overlay. So you've got your core frequency, which when you're born, right, you get named. There's a frequency and encodement there. What that means and how the numbers and the frequencies and the vibrations, what they represent for your karma and dharma, or your love and fear, or your fear of love and fear of fear, your challenges, what they mean, you can see. Right? When you have eyes to see, you will see. So we all humans have our tests and our challenges, and they're core ones. They're core ones, and you can see it in your codings. It's clear as day. Your name. Then you have your birth date. So we use another system for that. And that also shows your codings, right? From there, as we're growing, so now we're going into more the psychology or the psychotherapy, which really isn't, because if you read, I've written a paper, I haven't put it out yet, but it is about the connection of the spiritual metaphysics with the science, and how, science is debating and coming out with all these wonderful new things, really, because I can show you in the old ways, in the wisdom keeper ways of knowing where it all comes from. So when I speak about anything, I can speak about it in any discipline, right? I'm multidisciplined, but really I'm a mystic, and the mystic looks at the core, the seed of where it all comes from, which really, this is quite seed of where it all comes from. What? The mother? Oh yeah, okay. The birther, the creator, the beloved is above that, beyond that. So let me come back to the adaptive strategy. So you've got all these codings, you've got all of these layers of information as you're growing, yeah? As you're growing, as you're developing in your physical, your human development. But human development to me is conscious evolution, right? It's conscious evolution. And within that is physical and emotional, psychological development. But the whole kit and caboodle, use some weird words today, is conscious evolution, or creative conscious evolution. Let me just check the Facebook to see if there's any comments or questions, or anyone telling me off yet. No one telling me off. Disappointed. Okay. Oh my goodness. So let me just get this up so I can see on. No comments there. All right. So pulling this all together into that point, we've got our codings, we've got our experience as a physical expression in the world, right? And then we've got how our experiences, how our nurture and nature, how our primary caregivers and our environment impact us. And that's laid down, right? So if you've had difficulty, I'm sort of laughing at myself. I'm like, really, if? That's the human experience, right? So where a need or a want wasn't met, and that continues, there will be different strategies that you would have created to help make that difficulty acceptable. There's a fear. Maybe it's a fear of not surviving or a fear of surviving. I mean, we sort of chuckle at that, but how many have not wanted to keep going? So I'm thinking, oh, I've got to lighten this up a little bit. All right, how am I going to lighten this up? No, it is a little, oh, well, most of you, it's not morning, right? It's sort of going into evening. So yeah, we're good. All right, you're ready for bed. And maybe I'll give you nightmares though. So you've got these adaptive strategies. And those adaptive parts of yourself, so those of you that have been doing the following on these on-demands, you can go back and look at some of them. But those of you that are on the Holistic Mystic Mastermind, you'll see when I'm drawing those circles and you have your true identity, your Satnam or your mindful awareness or your general, well, actually, it's not the general state. It's your, I would call it that, but your general state is sort of where you are now, right? If you're not meditating or in your, true identity, because you're being pulled by all of these, internal, external factors. So let me get to my point, because I'm literally only going to go half an hour on this live and then we'll go into the mastermind. Those of you that are doing any sort of connection with spirit, so put your hand up if you've continued with that, or you do that, or you're interested in that, how you get higher intuitive knowing. So you've got your three, what I teach, those three core levels of intuition, that, real gut human senses, that intermediary, which is more the sort of what, psychic and mediumship type intuition, like then telepathy, remote viewing, those sorts of things, right? It's a little bit different because that's viewing. When you're getting information that seems to be from another being or spirit. So this is the core of what I'm studying, what I'm looking at, what I'm asking about, it's really, I've always been taught, because I started out as a researcher, and in anthropology, it's research, right? So the hypothesis, if you know the answer, there's no point doing the research. I always say, if I know the answer, there's no point doing the research. Find another research question. And so what I'm putting to you here is partly I know the answers to, and partly you can't fully prove some of it, right? So there needs to be, there's no mechanism to test, okay? So this is why it's curious for those of you that are doing, so did you put your hand up or did you put it in the chat? Is there any chat? So put in the chat if you're drawn here through spirit whisperers, through mysticism, through metaphysics, through, you have been learning to do mediumship, trance, channeling, even, using different tools like psychic abilities, psychometry, reading cards of some description, in anything. I was going to say rocks, but yes, anything. Like you can read anything. You can get information from anything, right? So I'm looking at you now on Zoom. Put your hand up if you're interested in any of that. All right, one. Anyone else? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're put your hands up. All right. Because if you're not interested in it, I don't think you're going to be interested in what I'm going to say, but you might. All right, put your hands up then, or put in the chat if you're on, if I can't see, if you're on the lives. Just put a Y or a star or something to say, yeah, If you're interested in your stress response, the behaviors that are challenging to you, meaning if you get into a stressful situation and you behave in a certain way that you wish you didn't, you might say something, you might do something, your body might be not, it may not be feel like it's fully in your control, because there's so much fear that you're trying to move away or get closer, or whatever it is. And why I say move away or get closer, because there's particular ways, there's particular aspects, protective aspects, that will either want to be close and are right there and hanging off you, right? Think of children, the ones that hang off your leg or just want nothing to do with you, and all the in-betweens. Are you clingy in relationships? Are you aloof? Do you have great boundaries or not? We've done some boundary work recently that, to extend what boundaries are. And we may continue to develop that. In Relevate, we were really going deeply into what is a boundary, what's a physical boundary, what's an internal boundary, what's an external boundary, and what they look like and feel like, so that you know when you're in certain situations, are you bounded or not? And is it a healthy boundary or something that's potentially impacting your intimacy in relationship with a partner, with your children, with your family, with colleagues, with other students, if you're in school or university or college or whatever, right? How you are in connection with the other. Yeah? All of these things that I'm talking about impact how you are in the world with yourself and with the other. So if we aren't thinking about it or aren't conscious, we're not being curious, we may be just plodding along, allowing those unconscious drives or instincts or protective aspects to carry on doing what they do. Now, if you're happy and you're loving yourself like nothing else, beautiful, awesome, like really awesome. And if you're not, that's okay, because there's so much that we can learn and develop and understand together, right? So I want to touch on this before we run out of time, but those on the Holistic Mystic will go deeper, and we can start to pull it apart a little bit, because it is really interesting. So what I'm saying is that when you're speaking to, hang on, let me just get rid of all this. It's coming up and going over. All my emails are coming up. When you go into trance, mediumship, psychic abilities. So trance and channeling and those sorts of practices involve altered states of consciousness, right? And there's communication, or allegedly there's communication. This is why I'm really big on evidential. But even that, oh, don't get me started. Maybe we'll go into that a little bit through the week. I have to change my times around though, because my May's really all over the shop. How do you know? How do you know that the information you're getting is from a discarnate or disembodied spirit or entity or alternative dimension of reality? Like, how do you know? Right? Spiritual, paranormal beliefs, or what's the other word I use sometimes? I can't think of it right now. Phenomena, right? Phenomena. So I'll give you the key to why I talk about this stuff. being a teacher, being a mystic, a spiritual teacher, and a teacher of mediumship and, you know, psychic abilities and intuition and those sorts of things, right? I see that when people are doing that work, they're shifting and changing and developing. And because I have a trauma lens in relation to, I'm a trauma specialist, like I work with trauma and, you know, stress, chronic stress and those sorts of things. I'm watching and I'm walking with students with that lens. So as they're connecting or altering states, I see how they are as they're going through these levels of consciousness and what comes up. And what I noticed, and this was way back the first year of intuitive studies, and this is why it's changed and merged, and now we have Relevate, and this is why. Because I would see that as people would start to drop into different states, some of their stuff was activated. They're probably not even aware. But because I have that lens, and so I would guide and navigate based on that trauma understanding or informed, you know, practices. And what we found through, and it was research, I have the statistics on it, right? Because I ask you all, do you remember? I was asking you to review your, you know, I'd give you those reviews at the beginning, halfway through, at the end, for all the classes. And then I get the statistics on that. And your relationships were better. Your anger, how you were interacting with others, your emotional regulation, in other words, had improved. Physical illnesses were improving or diminished. Some people would sit and their back pain would be gone. Like, you all have different, those of you that have sat in any way, you have your own experience. Now, if it was years ago, you may not remember. Things passed. I can't remember well, I can. Yesterday was an awesome day for me. I'll tell you about that another time. It was like, oh, so awesome. I have this way of speaking. I go, I'm going from amateur to pro, right? You know, it's like, or good to legendary. Like this, I don't want to be good. I don't want to be amateur. It's like I'm an Olympic athlete in my own development, you know. That's my level. And that's why I hang out with champions. You know, that's why I stretch to be with people that are at that level of leadership in their own life, right? Because it rubs off on you. You know, when you sit in a group like this and there's somebody sort of, you know, the boat is rising, you know that saying, the boat rises, when the one boat rises, they all rise. So let me pull it back. So I would see all of this. For years I've seen it. And now I'm bringing it to you to say, what is the difference between, for healing, right? The healing potential of trance, mediumship, channeling, right? What are the healing aspects of that? And because I work with protector or adaptive strategies, you know, trauma, somatic work, sensory motor psychotherapy, these types of ways of knowing, right? And I see the similarities. So it's really taking the key piece of what's going on for all those modalities and going, here is the healing potential, right? Now, most people, you can choose whatever you want. You can choose any modality you want. And one of you has asked me numerous times around, actually it was, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about, so when we touch into, so I'm going to touch on things that we haven't done on the lives yet. So just bear with me. But I guess it'll give you a sense of what the potential is, right? When we touch into the fear with our breath and our contraction, right? Going through this, so those of you that have been, in Holistic Mystic, the inner circle, going around, and Nicole, you've got access to that, so you can go and have a look if you like, or not. But those images of the rhythms and the organs and the challenges and the awesomeness that go with all of them, right? That's a particular type of coding. So you can sort of see where you are on that day or on that week, and you can contact it consciously. That's the key. When you contact the sensation in your body, which is the fear, consciously, you can shift it. Somebody asked me, do we lose the information? Do we lose the information that that physical sensation, pain, constriction, whatever that sensation is, do we lose what it's trying to tell us if we take it away? So there's different answers to that, but the key is that ultimately our highest way, when I say our, Eric and I, our highest way of, and our personal way of working with fear is to meet fear directly. That's a big ask for most people. It's a huge ask, because even to ask to meet a sensation directly is terrifying to a lot of people. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes? No? If we're able, when we're able to meet all the fear all of the time, be conscious, then we don't have to worry about all the different modalities and all the different ways of healing, right? So it's not right or wrong. It's not right or wrong. It's like saying, I have an injury. I'm gonna use kinesiology, or I'm gonna use massage, or I'm gonna use, I don't know, energy medicine, some sort of energy modality. I'm gonna use pressure or acupuncture or whatever that is, or meditation, right? Or I'm gonna take a pain tablet, or I'm gonna go to the general practitioner or your doctor. It doesn't matter. Whatever you choose. All of them are giving you or allowing you to accept what's going on in a particular way. And if you don't know any better, right? If you don't know any other way, if you don't know what you don't know, and you've been taught when you get a pain, you take so in different countries, the medications are called different things, right? So you might just take a headache tablet, right? Or something, just something you buy over the counter at the pharmacy, like whatever that is in your country, right? And some people, you fall over, or you have that. You have a headache, you have that. Or you have a tummy ache, you have that. It's like some cultures, it's like there are certain things that you're coded, you're conditioned. When that happens, this is what you do. You don't know any better. And that's okay. It makes it acceptable because it's a belief. It's your belief. Now, it may be true. It may not be. It's a belief. So if you've got a belief, it's going to be at least, a certain percentage going to work, because of, I joke about, what's it called? I've lost it now. Nope, it's gone. You know, with sugar tablets and that sort of stuff. What's that called? What's the word? Top tip of my tongue. Anyway, placebo effect. Thank you, Emma. Right, the placebo effect. I joke about that because the placebo effect is real. Right? It's a certain percentage will heal or shift in whatever's going on for them. It's the placebo effect, right? So awesome. Who cares if it's placebo or the freaking drug or what you're doing or whatever? It's worked. Who cares? Do you care? If it's done what it's supposed to do and it's only sugar tablets or it's whatever, I don't know. I'm just making this up, right? But to make a point. What makes it acceptable for you and what your beliefs are, what you've been conditioned in, right? What you've been conditioned in. So what we're going to continue to talk about in a moment is how these theories of attachment in the inner child, these parts, these adaptive strategies, these protective aspects of self come in, how when we connect to go into an altered state, is it spirit or something from another realm, which, as I say that, could also be your protective strategies. And do you see how it starts to all merge together or not? Well, if you don't, I'm going to share it with you. But we have to switch over to our holistic mystic because we've got our paint party at 10, which is like in 40 minutes. No, 20 minutes. So we're going to have about 25 minutes or so in the holistic mystic. So for those of you watching the mastermind, if you've got any questions about this, or come back and we're probably going to continue like this concept of the inner child, what that means, these attachment disruptions that create, these parts of the self. And when we're connecting in, the question is, what are we connecting to? Is it different parts of ourself, different aspects of the self, different adaptive, protective parts of ourself that we are talking to and getting information from or feeling or sensing? Because a lot of you will feel it in the body, right? In the body. It's somatic. That's what I do. I'm a sensory motor psychotherapist. It's somatic work, right? But I'm also a mystic. And so when I take someone through altered states of consciousness there's different levels of trance as well, right? It's light, medium, and really deep trance. And then there's trance medium, trance communication, which is where spirit speaks through you. Rather than the medium talking to spirit and giving you answers, in trance communication or trance mediumship, the spirit speaks through the vessel, the trance, the human. Yeah. So where is it that there's that crossover? How do you know? What's happening? So we're going to cross over now. So if you want to learn more, those of you that aren't in Holistic Mystic, you're going to come over and you'll have all the archives there from the last, I don't know how many months, from end of January to now, and all the behind the scenes conversations and questions and teachings. So we're going to switch over now. But just know we've got the Psi experience coming up, which is a 10-month. It's like you'll have to apply for that. You'll have to have a conversation with me about that, because it's what I call the mothership program. And, it's an investment, but you'll be delving deep, but you'll also be painting your codes, your information, finding what your adaptive strategies are, finding what your coding is, finding what your challenges are, finding what your fears and your fear and your fear of love are, so that then we can navigate it through this 10-month program. So I can't take many people, right? Because I have to do all the codings for you and all of that stuff. But then we walk through together as a small group. Okay, so anyway, I'll put more information out shortly, but just letting those of you that are on here now know that that's coming up. And we have those of you in Regulate to Elevate, which is more about understanding your adaptive strategy and your protection, and regulating your nervous system, and how we're really bringing in your consciousness to what's going on when we take you into an experience, which is what I'm actually talking about. And depending on our time today, when we switch over, I'll take you through. We'll see what you want to do, but if I took you into just a gentle shift of consciousness, and you navigated your internal and external landscape, what sensory information is coming in? And is that something beyond, or is that something connected? In my opinion, in my humble opinion, everything's connected. So I work with whatever comes up. But, right, as a researcher, this stuff comes up, and I'm like, oh, well, that might be interesting to actually have something written and something known about this in more depth, based on what I experienced directly, how I have a relationship with myself, myself, the self, the beloved, and everything in between. The intimacy of those relationships allows you to know. Just like if you have a friend and you stay surface level for 10 years, you never really find out about them. You never really know them. It's not really an intimate relationship. Intimate doesn't mean sexual. It means being present and empathetic, and compassionate, and listening, as well as speaking. Right? Finding out about the other, not just offering yourself constantly. So we'll wrap up the live for today, and we'll stay on the mastermind. And so those of you that are in the Holistic Mystic Mastermind, our inner circle, come over now. We're on the Zoom. And for the rest of you, I will see you. Let me see when I'm back. Um, 2 p.m. tomorrow, 2 p.m. Hawaiian. I don't know what that is. So I'll post it later today. All right. Ciao to those on YouTube and social media. May the blessings be. How do I get off that? Stop live. Okay.